Hey Anthony, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, maybe you can start off by just telling us a little bit about yourself, who
Sure.
you are, where you're from.
I'll give you a brief introduction. So, born 1967, December 26th in Waterbury, Connecticut. I was about, I think, 6 years old. We ended up moving down to Dunedin, Palm Harbor, Florida area. Grew up here, elementary, middle school, high school, went to Countryside High School, graduated in 1986. I've got a brother and a sister, all 2 years apart. I'm the oldest. So I graduated in 1986 from Countryside. I worked at Kmart over there on Gulf to Bay, or I'm sorry, on 19. It's not there anymore. It's a BJ's, but worked there for a couple of years in the auto care industry, working on cars as a mechanic. Just wasn't. It wasn't something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So a buddy of mine, he was in the same kind of situation. We decided, well, let's go talk to the recruiter and see what we can do. And we ended up going down Clearwater, talking to the recruiter. Both of us decided, well, let's go in the Marines. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. And we both were just kicking that around, and went and talked to the Marine recruiter, and everything was going well. And then I just had an epiphany. I was like, well, maybe it's not what I really want to do. I wanted to maybe learn a trade or get some more education. Not that the Marines don't do that, but it was a different avenue. So I ended up going to the Air Force. My buddy stuck with the Marines. He ended up being a dragon gunner, Camp Pendleton. He was in for 4 years. I ended up staying for 22 years and 8 months. So in the Air Force, which was great.
22 years, 8
yeah.
months, so fully retired.
Yep, enlisted in 1989. Started off at Shepherd Air Force Base, Wichita Falls, the whole gamut. Ended up at Travis Air Force Base in California. Did my first run there. I was a crew chief, a C5 crew chief on airplanes. Did that. In 91, I was transferred over to Hawaii.
Hickam.
Poor loser, yeah. So went to Hickam, did that for 4 years. Came back to California after my stint in Hawaii. Did the crew chief thing for another year, and I decided to retrain. Wanted to be more of an aircrew person. Somebody, it was just a different avenue, a little bit more of a leap, I guess you could say. So I retrained to be a flight engineer. So that's about a 2-year process. Got to go through SEER training.
What was your rank when you made that switch?
I was a staff sergeant.
At the time?
Yeah, so I was a staff sergeant, did the switch to the flight engineer. Like I said, went to SEER training, water survival up in Washington State, which was a pretty interesting scenario. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, but it was very, 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 very good. How do you say? It just kept you, you appreciate where you come from.
Yeah.
So it was really good avenue. So I did that, retrained to be an engineer. Did that for the rest of the time until I retired. Accumulated almost over 5,000 flying hours. Was involved in every operation that we were, as the military was in. Iraqi freedom. The whole, everything that came up. So yeah, did that and ended up retiring in 2011.
Okay.
And I was still on terminal leave, and I decided to be go into law enforcement. So I started with the Alameda County Sheriff's Office in California, up in the Bay Area. I was still on terminal leave. I was going through the academy for 2 months, and I was going through the academy. It's a 6-month academy.
Okay.
So retired. Started that in February, and 6 months later I was done with the academy, and then did law enforcement out there for about 10 years.
California law enforcement.
Yeah.
That's got to be fun.
It was a little rough. I could only do 10 years. I got a nice little retirement out of that, and then did in 2021. I pulled out, and that was it. Retired and came back to my roots here in Florida.
That's awesome.
So it's been a lot, but everything worked out well.
That's good. So you're born and bred out here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kidding,
Yeah,
almost,
yeah. So still have family and friends here, obviously from
That's
high
what I was
school.
going to ask you.
Yeah.
Still have family and
Oh
friends
yeah,
here.
family, friend. Yeah, absolutely. So.
So what is that? You're married now, right?
Yeah. So we all have our trials and tribulations of married life. I was divorced in 2000. So been divorced for most of my adult life, I guess you could say. Met my wife in California before I retired. We ended up, obviously getting married. She left her position out there in California. I retired. We moved out here, found a house. She's a doctor of nursing, so she's been in the medical field for the past 20 years. She's been working for corporate and just, not a great fit. And, it's just, you're always working for the man, I guess you could say. So she always wanted to pursue her own business. And that's where we came to our new business adventure, which is a franchise called Game Day Men's Health.
Okay.
Which they, their four core is the testosterone replacement, erectile dysfunction, weight loss, and the vitamin therapy. So you see a lot of men's or women's health clinics around the area, but you don't see any men's. So the guys need help too. So that's what we're trying to focus on.
Especially after 40.
Yeah, absolutely. At 35, 40 years old, you start to decline. So we're pressing that avenue now, and hopefully everything works out, and we're just hopefully we can grow.
That's awesome. Where's your business located? Where's that?
It's over here in Palm Harbor. It's going to be off Alderman and 19 over there in the corner, across from the Sporta Gym on 19.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So it should be open here in the next few months.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously you give back a lot to it here.
Yeah, we're obviously going to be veteran and first responder. That's going to be our bread and butter, and we'll take care of those guys. Discounts abound with those.
And if I'm correct, you're part of the Pinellas County Veterans Association also?
Yeah.
Cool.
So a few months ago, I was approached to be sit on a meeting, and we got the meeting, and it just fostered a great environment, and we just kept it going, and it's broadened into a really big opportunity.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's going to be a really good for everybody.
So there's a lot of advocacy for that.
Yeah, so we can get everybody, get them the knowledge, the information that they need, because a lot of these guys don't know what they don't know, which is a lot. So when we're going to be here to help them with that process, it's a great thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any stories or anything like that stick out in your head from military?
Yeah, I mean, I've been all over the world in every operation. I mean, I can tell you the few times one of the operations we were involved in just after the Black Hawk Down in Mogadishu.
Oh, okay.
Flew direct over to Mogadishu. We're waiting to land just after this operation took off, and the runway was invaded by all the Mogadishu people, so we had a hold, couldn't land. They ended up clearing. The UN was out there doing their patrol, and they were our security. So they ended up getting the runway cleared. We landed. Big cargo plane, so we have a bunch of Humvees that we're gonna provide over there. So we ended up landing, parking, getting ready to download all our equipment, and all of a sudden, the airfield gets raided again. So we had to kind of hide, get back in the airplane for about an hour until they cleared it again. So that was kind of a scary situation. Ended up downloading all our equipment and then taking off with no issues. Another time taking off out of Kuwait, had a landing gear. We took off landing gear. Our landing gear rotates and goes into the well. It rotated, and that was as far as it got. It blew a hydraulic line. We weren't able to get the gear into the well, so it's just hanging halfway down. So obviously we didn't want to land with that situation.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of gas we had to burn off. We ended up getting the gear as high as we could, landed, and without any major damage, we landed back down in Kuwait and got that all taken care of. Obviously, we had to stay for a few days for them to get that repaired. So yeah, there's been other stuff that we want to kind of keep to ourselves.
Yeah,
but
of course.
those are some of the minor things that have happened as far as my Air Force career.
What was your first thought process when you first knew you were going out of country and you actually wound up having boots on the ground in the dirt?
It was so I can tell you that it was when the war kicked off, we were flying over and you could see they were lighting all the oil fields on fire. You just saw all the smoke coming up, and we didn't know what was going on, and it was where you've got all your what was the gear that for the gas.
For your chem suit?
Yeah, we had all our chem gear with us just in case. So, you know, we didn't know if we needed to throw it on before we got off the airplane. So it was a dicey situation. We get off the airplane and then there's mortars flying all over the place, and so
Came in hot.
came in hot. Exactly. Took some small arms fire, but nothing. The plane's fairly large, so it could take some heat. But we did that, and you know, downloaded all our equipment and got out of there as soon as we could. But yeah, there's been some. It was crazy.
So it was all active duty?
Yeah, all active duty.
reserve?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely active duty. So you know, we worked well with the reserves because those guys are always on the back burner helping us. So which is
Now
nice.
the National Guard. So.
Yeah, absolutely, totally, yeah.
That's-
So it was a great. I mean, I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life. You know, obviously it was hard being away from the family and stuff like that, but you know, it was just a great experience flying all over the world. You learn so much about what you don't have and what America has that nobody else has. So don't take this place for granted.
Absolutely.
It's the place to be.
Awesome.
Everybody, as you can see, everybody wants to come here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
Right.
Florida
So,
specifically.
Yeah,
Right?
true, very true. Yes, sir.
So, do you have any advice for anybody who's thinking about entering the military, looking at a certain branch to go into or something?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna sway towards the Air Force, but I don't think you could go wrong with any of the branches. I mean, it just fosters a great environment. You know, it gives you that foundation. You know, work on time. You know,
Foundation of being a man.
exactly. So, that transfers very well to the civilian life. They'll appreciate your work ethic when you get to that point. So yeah, and then I know things have changed as far as retirement and as far as benefits and everything like that, but you still can't go wrong. So you get that education too. That's
Sure.
huge. That's a huge.
Very much so.
Yes.
Awesome. Anthony, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, Dave. I
Really
appreciate it. All right, buddy. Thank you.